Okay, welcome everybody. How is everybody tonight? Welcome YouTube, welcome TikTok. Tonight we're going to talk about tonight's super full moon. Is anybody feeling our super full moon? So tell us hello, tell us where you're joining from. I'm going to grab my sweetgrass here and start cleansing the space. Hello YouTube, hello TikTok. How is everybody tonight? We're right at the precipice of a whole new month, and we're starting our new month with the super full moon. Hello, JC and Poet. Hello, April. How are you? How's Texas? How's the weather? Are you guys hot? We have this incredible thunderstorm moving in here, so I thought that was pretty auspicious. So how is everybody tonight? It's Monday, Moon Day. Hello. Hello, Marlene. Hi, Lindsay. Hi, Sylvia. Hi, everybody. I have a new streaming thing I'm trying tonight on YouTube. So here's some sweetgrass. I'm going to burn some sweetgrass for everybody. And before we get started, I invite you to relax and breathe in and out and invite those good spiritual energies into your life and into your home. And we're burning sweetgrass tonight to invite those special sweet energies in. Hot and dry. Oof. Yeah, I know. I remember something about Texas is that it gets like super hot and then there's a lot of mosquitoes, I heard. We have a lot of mosquitoes here, which is not good. We are excited for August, curious to what the energy of the month will bring. Yeah, we'll talk about that tonight. I don't know. So just out of curiosity, for those of you who are watching, what are you feeling for this August? August is going to be a bang up month. And August is usually kind of a bang up month because we have a lot of celestial events that happen during this time. We have those meteor showers that come in. We have like a lot of activity. It's the month of Leo in the astrology. It's also a month where we start preparing for that harvest. And then this particular month, we're going to have 2 full moons that are super moons. We're going to have a lot of spiritual activity. I think they call it a blue moon. We're going to have a lot of things happening spiritually. And it's a time right now where I'm telling people, get prepared. Over this last week, everybody's been kind of telling me about how they're doing. And, I've been getting kind of a sense of what is going on collectively. And there's a lot of worry. There's a lot of doubt. There's a lot of, especially around the economy. And there's a lot of this like unsettledness around it. And like I've been telling people for a long, long time is that it's the time where you have to get into your mission and purpose. What are you here to do? And do it. Like start making your goal, your mark. Where are you headed? And that's what this month really is about. It's about why are you struggling? Where are you struggling? And how can you now make a direction so that you don't struggle? And that's this year. It's about finding your mark and then going for it. Just putting one foot in front of the other, 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 and then eventually ending up where you want to go. But where do you want to go? So that's the first thing about this month of August, the super full moon. It's what is the direction your arrow is headed in. And I talked today about spiritual blessings because it's not enough to just have a vision. And even it's not enough to just put action towards that vision. You also need another component is what we call now magic. But in ancient times, they called it the ancient feminine And that's what it is. It's the feminine. It's the unseen forces that cause, that hard work and that direction, and it moves that arrow. Because at some point you align yourself and you say, okay, there's my target. That's where I'm going. And then you pull your body, put it into alignment. And then at some point you let go of the arrow, and then the arrow is that unseen part. You do everything you can, and then the universe, that spiritual energy, that magic, as they call it guides the arrow. And that's what we also call opportunity, because you need the hard work and discipline, but you also need that opportunity. And that's the spiritual work. So this is a really incredible month for spiritual work, for, getting guidance, doing a reading, doing your rituals, whatever it is that can bring you into spiritual alignment. Because without the spiritual alignment, your arrow will go here, and then it'll go here, and then it'll go, you can do everything you want, everything you can to just like align it. But what's gonna be that thing that makes it, possible to bring in opportunities, to make all that hard work and discipline meaningful? And that's what this month is about. Lindsay says, I'm feeling like we are building up to something. Yeah, that's the harvest. See, this next moon right here we're going to have tomorrow is really about the harvest. It's everything you've been working towards now coming into alignment to an opportunity. So I invite you on this full moon, and here's our Peaky Bee. Peaky Bees are opportunist. She showed up at my door 13 years ago, so she aligned her arrow really, really well. But the super full moon it's going to be more intense. It's going to be more energized. It's going to bring you more energy to complete the things that you need to complete to get to that next stage of the harvest. Because then September, October, November, we're in the harvest months, especially like mid-October. When they have all the pumpkins and whatever. And then in Korea, we have Chuseok, and we have Dia de los Muertos. We have all these like important dates, Halloween, that come up around the harvest time. And that's when the spiritual veils are really wide open, is because now we're feasting, now we're celebrating, now we're bringing together everything that we have worked for. And this month, it's really about the push to, what is it that you want right now? So I invite you to think about, what is it that you really want in your life right now, and making it happen this month. And what are you struggling with? Where are the struggles? And then, that's what they call the shadows, the work that needs to be done to clear out those struggles, so that now you can move into your harvest season. So thanks for joining, everybody. Welcome to the live. Today we're talking about the super full moon that's coming up tomorrow. Hi, Liberty. Hello, Isabel. How are you? How's everybody tonight? How are you feeling this moon coming up in this next new month? What is going on in your world? Let me know. Let's get a conversation going. What are your questions? What do you want to know? Because this year is actually very powerful. I don't know if you guys are feeling that, but this year is a very powerful powerful year to really get clarity. Because next year, it's a whole nother world. Next year is a whole new fire. Yeah. Hey, Nicole, how you feeling? Let's send a lot of love and light to Nicole, because she just had surgery today. You hanging out? You doing okay? And really, when I was thinking about today's live, I was thinking about the next step for us as a community is to move into a community. That's where your real wealth is. Because as the economy gets more expensive and everything's volatile and up and down and blah, 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 you're going to have a community to go to. That's what we're having to build. And whether it's online or in person, your family, your friends, it's going to be more about building community. That's your real wealth right now, It's not in the possessions and the stuff that you don't need. It's in community. And that's where we're going to find the most wealth and prosperity and health and wealth and happiness and all that stuff, is finding your people that you can go to. Liberty says, emotionally frazzled. All my triggers and fears are coming up. Yeah, because it's that super full moon. Super full moons have the ability to rise whatever is going on under the surface to. And now, in these next 3 days, it's really important to, find the calm waters within yourself, get to the bottom of what it is that is really making you emotionally frazzled and what is really coming up for you. And then nurturing that and coming into alignment with it. See, the thing is, we always want to push our shadow down. But the truth of the shadow is the most powerful part of our being. And it's not to be pushed down, but it's to be integrated so that we can own ourselves, own our power. Because no matter where we go, there's our shadow. You're okay. Just called your beautiful doctor. Sure you did. That's good. I'm glad you're good. So just rest. Don't worry about nothing. I'm good. The past month I had forced boundaries that I needed to enforce, but better now. Isn't it awesome when you enforce your boundaries, you feel better, right? I'm feeling like, I'm ready, really hoping to connect with my community. Yes. That's the thing, is this year, if you can build a community, join a community, be in community, it's going to really come in handy these next years. Hello, Lola. How are you? I was just watching a video and it said that in Mexico, people are much happier than, it's like one of the happiest countries on earth. And people think, oh, well, Mexico's poor and da-da-da-da-da. But actually, they said they're one of the happiest countries on earth because of community, because of family ties, because they value their family so greatly. And because of that, it makes them wealthy. And that's the new wealth in our world. It's not going to be about how much richer and how much more stuff I have, because those of you who know, when you have a lot of stuff, a lot of properties, a lot of responsibilities, it's a headache. If you've been there, it's a headache. People always say, oh, I want more, I want more, I want more, until you get more. Then you get more, you're like, I want less, I want less, I want less. People tell me that all day long. Oh, no, I don't like all this stuff I have to take care of now, and I have to do this, and I have to do that. Let's see. Marlene says, I've been seeing clouds, cloud angel, cloud unicorn with hair rainbow, and a long cloud dragon that I said, hi, dragon. I feel it looked at me. Am I going crazy? No, you're not going crazy. No, you are aware. One of my favorite activities, like sometimes we'll do outdoor ceremonies and I'll tell people, go cloud, like we'll look up at the clouds and we'll say, what do you see? And it'll change, but as you start cloud gazing, you'll start to see, like what you're talking about, dragons and unicorns and shapes and things, and they will move and they will become alive. And then you will understand the bigger universal forces that are happening all around us. But most of the time, people are not paying any attention. People are not aware, like April was saying, or Lindsay was saying, it's people are just sleeping. They're not paying attention because they're too busy trying to, survive, trying to make money, trying to do something instead of just being. Just relaxing, just being, just sitting with these universal energies and understanding the bigger cosmos of why we're here. That's really what this is all about, is this time, this August, it's a great time to figure it out, to sit with the energies, to say what is really going on within me and how can I now make a change, make a difference, make it better so that this next chapter, I'm on point. I would make my roommate lay on the grass with me and pick out characters. Cloud gazing. Yeah, cloud gazing is amazing. And when we really pay attention, we get messages. Get messages. See, everybody on here, on this app, they're not interested until you're giving them something like a reading or tarot card message or this or that. But honestly, that stuff is just like temporary. A good reading, when we do a reading, you should invest your time, your energy, and you should get a full, complete reading that should last you. It shouldn't be something you're getting every day, all day from 10,000 different readers. It's something that should be meaningful and special that you sit with and that gives you guidance and that heals you and helps you so that then the direction, the clarity, the way forward. It's an investment of your time and money and your energy. It's not something that, you should be getting, and then you get all confused. You get too many readings, you get all confused, you don't know who said what, and then, you don't take action. It's not going to work. But when you understand how to read the signs and symbols and synchronicities and do your own transformation, that's for you. That will be for you for the rest of your life, and you won't ever have to go and depend on anybody or anything. And that's the direction we're moving into for next year and beyond. For the next 52 years, we're going to go through this shift of the old fire to the new fire. And this new fire, or what they call the new sun, is about owning your inner authority, your inner power. What drives you? Who are you? Not the chaotic forces in and around you, but what are you made of? Who are you? What direction are you headed in? What is your purpose? What is your mission? Why did you come here? What is it beyond this superficial world that you're here to do on a spiritual soul level? Because when you die, you take nothing with you. You take nothing with you. Everything you have invested, all your time, your energy, your money, all that stuff stays here. But what you will leave with is what you evolved into, your spiritual evolution, your soul, as they call it. That's where we have to put our time and energy into too. And see, in other cultures, they know that and they build it into their life plan. So when they're younger, they work on their, getting their stability, getting a house, raising a family, doing all that stuff. But once they retire or they get older, what they do invest in is their spirituality. So I have a lot of students who are much older, who are retired, who've built their fortunes, who've done their things, who know that those avenues of fortune and wealth only lead you to empty doorways until you're feeling like complete within. And then when they're older, they seek their spirituality. They seek their enlightenment. They seek the way forward, and they seek peace because they've lived these whole chaotic lives of making money, raising kids, doing this, and that. And then later in their life, they get to enjoy and kick back and sit back and say, okay, now let me work on my spirit. Let me work on my spirituality because I'm getting closer to that doorway of the great beyond, the great mystery. And I want to know what I can do to get to the best place possible after this life is over. And that's the key. That's the key. And I think that's going to be the direction people are naturally going to be moving to in this next 52-year cycle, because it's also a feminine sun. See, this sun, it's going to be like on the calendar, and I'm talking about the Tonopoali. And this calendar talks about next, in 2024, when we shift into this new sun, it's going to be about the softness, the inner stuff. It's dark. It's a dark sun, and it starts at midnight. It's the midnight. So you know how there's all these like songs that talk about midnight. You're going to notice it now. You're going to notice it in your life. Like Michael Jackson, he has Close to Midnight. He had that song. Midnight. It's close to midnight. And midnight is when the clock changes and we go into this new time. And it really stirred up in 2020. And now it's ramping up. And it's about, notice that we're even talking now on a device that is forcing you to go inward, because we're not all together in a room or space. We're on on a device, whether it's a phone, an iPad, a computer, whatever you're on, but it's a device that only you are probably watching, and you're just sitting there and you're listening and you're watching. And part of the shift of this age is that because we're going inward, technology has emerged. Technology, AI, virtual reality, all that kind of stuff is going to really start ramping up because it pushes you inward. Everything outward kind of goes away, but now you're inward. And it's a big shift. It's a big shift. I remember, over, oh gosh, so when you get old, you forget, but probably over 20, 25 years ago, I was sitting with my teacher and she was talking about all this stuff. She was saying, this is going to happen, this is going to happen, and she was talking about all these different things. And it was so incredible because I was reading through my old journals and I saw everything she was saying, and it's now with all this technology stuff, with all this AI stuff, with the apps and everything she was talking about. And the fact that a lot of people are going to die, a lot of people are going to leave our earth because it's part of the shift. And we see that. A lot of people are leaving. And it's like, wow, we're right at this precipice of this whole new way of living. So if you have kids, they're coming in to bring in this new time. The kids right now, they pick up a phone and they already know how to use it. It's ingrained in them. They're already built for this time. But the problem with this time is going to be balancing it. And because of AI and because of the way the economy is going to change and because of the way that everything's shifting and moving, this super full moon and this month, it's really about what is your goal. That's what they call your goal, but really not just your goal. What is it that you want to achieve in this life? Especially if you're an adult, because this is going to be the end. This moon and this energy for 2024 and beyond is going to be, for 52 years. So it's going to be, what we see in our life. And that's why I always said people born, if you were born like 1965 to the mid 80s, 90s, you're what they call a bridge. Because before technology really came in, you understood going outside, playing with your friends. You're more connected to the earth than the next generation's coming. And so that bridge generation ends up becoming very important for the next 52 years because you're here to remind people of the beauty of Mother Earth. Because with all this technology, with all this stuff, is going to be a disconnect between Mother Earth and technology. Like some kids don't even go outside anymore. And they just stay inside with the technology. But when you're a bridger, you're here to remind people to go outside, to take care of the earth, to, be respectful, to honor her because she's our home and she's a being, our grandmother. And we're at this very important transitional doorway where we're going to make some serious choices around how do we go forward with this new energy, with this new era, with this new time that we're in. And so this super full moon, this August, is really important because it brings in powerful energies that when you align to them, you're going to hit that mark. But the first thing you have to understand from within yourself, this can only come from you, can't come from anybody else, is what is your destiny? What is it that you want to do in your life? Why are you here? What are your gifts? What are your talents? What do you need to heal before you move forward and hit that mark? It's like this week I was guided to go, I was driving along. You know how you're just driving along, doing your own thing. And all of a sudden, Spirit said, stop. So I stopped, and it was a crystal shop. It was like a tiny little crystal shop. I never seen it, and it just said grand opening. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll stop in there. And when I go in there and I talk to the girl, she starts telling me how she's really struggling in her business. She just opened, everything's struggling. And, I started talking to her. And one of the questions I asked her is, well, what do you want this place to be? Because it was a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. It was all mushed together. And she said, actually, I want this to be a healing center. And I was like, wow, if you want this to be a healing center, you're going to have to change the whole thing. The whole thing has to be changed. But you're early on in your business where you can change it, because she was getting no business. Nobody was going. And that's this energy. It's like, if you're doing something you're not enjoying, then start turning it around. But what the first question you have to ask yourself is, what do you want? What is it really in your heart that you want? And like Isabel saying, I also think I'm going to be a bridge to help others ascend. Yes, that's the bridge. It's the bridge between the spiritual and the material. And some people will be more in the spiritual and some people will be more in the material. But just think about all the ways money and currency and commerce has changed. Just think of that. Just since 2020, just think about how many people are making all their money online, how many people had a career shift, how many people quit the industry they were in and went into something different. And it was always like, they were able to find that balance between their spirit and then the material, because you still got to pay your bills. Nobody else is going to pay your bills. Spirit is not going to drop $1 million on your door, although we'd like it to. That'd be nice. I also think that I'm sorry. I'm going to make some music. Awesome, Liberty. Yeah, make some music. That new world music. 2 hummingbirds just flew by. Oh my gosh, that's so awesome, Lola. The hummingbirds have been everywhere. Nicole can talk about the hummingbirds. What time is it where you are? Yeah, the hummingbirds, they bring in that spiritual energy, The whole thing about this life is, how can you bridge your spiritual life with your material life? Because everything spiritual is material and everything material is spiritual. They're interconnected, whether we know it or not. They're always connected. And that's why I always say spirituality has to be material too. It's like Lola says, I just saw 2 hummingbirds fly by. That's a spiritual message. That's a message coming from spirit, because hummingbirds are deeply connected to the spirit world. And when we know these symbols and we know these signs and we understand them and we're paying attention, we're understanding the dance between spirit and material, because it's always dancing. Always dancing. It's always dancing in and out, in and through. That's why all of that really fluffy out there spirituality is not for the masses, because the masses don't connect to it, because intuitively we know we have to see it. We have to see spirit moving in and through our lives. We have to feel it in order to really believe it, in order to really understand it. And spirit knows that. Spirit knows that, I'm not just going to talk a bunch of hokey pokey stuff. I have to see it to believe it. And that's the thing about rituals. Rituals, you have to see it to believe it. You have to see some tangible results to really see it. I was curious about hummingbirds too. Had one come look right into my home cameras again today. Ain't that something, Amanda? Well, spirit, hummingbirds, think about a hummingbird. They're like these balls of energy, right? They're just constantly moving, and they're very fast. So they travel in between realms. And there's a lot of ancient teachings we can go into about the hummingbird. But one of the things that in the Toltec teachings and the Tonopali, which I was talking about, is that the hummingbird is the bird who is connected to your heart. And it's Hitchlila Pochli. And that energy comes from the left side, and it represents discipline. So when the hummingbird comes as a messenger, it's about connecting to your heart, but it's also about discipline. So where in your life are you needing more discipline, more structure? Because in the ancient understanding of life, in order to achieve everything you want to achieve, in order to hit that mark you're trying to go for, in order to what they call now manifest, it actually requires discipline, because passion will fade. You know how you get this great idea, you're like, oh, I'm gonna open this store, it's gonna be so great. Oh, all right, and you get all excited, and that's the quality energy, the ego that flew into the fire and said, yeah, I'm gonna dive in. And then the next thing you get burned. And it's the patience that has to come in, which is the ocelot or jaguar energy. That's why the jaguar is spotted, because he's been burned, but now he's learned and he is patient. And when you're patient, you can make any and all of your dreams possible because you're sticking with that initial vision. So in the beginning, when you're starting something, like Isabel saying she's in the process of changing careers and it's on her spiritual journey. Yeah, the first thing is you probably got like some kind of inspiration, some kind of passion, some kind of like, yes, I'm gonna do that. Right? And then it's the discipline that actually is gonna carry your heart through. And that's the part most people don't want to hear, especially in the spiritual fields. But it's the spiritual people who are the most disciplined who have the most success, though. Because if you have no discipline, you have no structure, you're just all floating around in the ethereal realms, it doesn't work in this material world, because we're in a material world. Remember Madonna talking about her material world? We're in a material world. And because of that, we're constricted by these rules of physics and all that stuff. And so because of that, we're not ethereal spiritual bodies. Our spirit chose to come into a container to learn the practice of discipline. And that's what the hummingbird is about, really. Is about what is in your heart that you need to discipline, to structure, to go for your dreams. And the heart is a very powerful muscle. And without that muscle in our body, we die. That's how important that message is. Discipline equals devotion. Yeah, devotion. And devotion is as strong as you want to make it. Because I think probably in the Western communities, people think of devotion like a worship, but a devotion is exactly what you're saying. It's more of a discipline. It's a structure. It's a spiritual practice. And that's why I always emphasize a spiritual practice. And that's this month too. It's like, what is your spiritual practice that you do daily that brings you closer to that goal? Because in our indigenous teachings, it's always about harmony and balance. And even if we go to the teachings in the East, it's always about yin yang, balance of masculine, feminine, heat and cold. And when we're to this or to that, we're totally out of balance. And that's where discipline will happen. Because even when you don't want to do something and you do it, because you know it's going to inch you towards that goal, towards that, destiny, that makes you strong. That makes your heart stronger. That makes everything in your body stronger, because you overcame laziness. You overcame that sloth energy. You overcame the energy that would bring you down versus bring you up. And this is why it's hard in our life, because, in this time and age, we're more lazy than ever. Everything's more convenient. Everything's fast. I was driving today and I was like, everybody's at the fast food window. And they want that fast. It's just like here on these apps. Everybody wants a fast reading. They want a fast answer. They want fast. But unfortunately, in this real time space that we're in, the things that are fast, cheap, and easy don't last. They're not going to be the things that give you success and even reward. You won't feel like, wow, I deserve that. I felt, it's like the thing about school, as tedious and awful as school can be, there's some kind of satisfaction you get when you walk across that stage and you get your diploma, and you know you worked for it, you sacrificed for it, you did things that other people were doing, but you couldn't do them because you had to go study and you had to go work and you had to do all these stuff. And the harder you work for it, the more fulfilling it is. Yeah. Fast food is poison. Yes, it is. And yet everybody's in line for the poison. Okay. I don't know. My native name is Little Doe sitting in the cornfield waiting for her parents. Isn't that something? I love that. You're the little doe sitting in the cornfield waiting. And that's the thing, is like, when you know your native name, when you know your spiritual name, you can understand your destiny. That's what the naming ceremony is. It's when you go to your naming ceremony, is to understand who you are on a spiritual level, who you are beyond this. You're who you are, and people know who you are, and they know how to treat you too. I think that's one of the hardest things a lot of people suffer with is how people treat them. And then they wonder why people treat them a certain way, because they know who they are, but it hasn't been, shown to the world. And people will know who you are by the way that you allow them to treat you. It came to me in a vision. Nice. And that's the thing, is that when you're in alignment with your visions and you can own those visions and you're not afraid of those visions, great things will happen. Is it common to get a name in a dream or vision? I don't know if that's common. I think some people do get their name, their dream or vision, or ceremony. Yeah. Or, if you work with the medicine man or medicine woman, a name will come. But, I lived in Sedona, and in Sedona, a lot of people got their name in a dream or a vision or something, their self. That's the thing, is that in this time and age, most people don't have a mentor, don't have a teacher, don't have anybody they meet, or even if they did meet them, they don't know what it is. And so, yeah, spirit will try to grab you. Girl say, hey, let's look at you come here. I'll grab you. I'm from Phoenix, Arizona. Oh, nice. It's hot over there. Oh my gosh, I just saw a thing about how hot Arizona is. And this is why I'm always glad I'm not in Sedona in the summer, because it is super hot. Everything is baking. But I like, the thing about Arizona is it's very mystical. I think there's so many parts of Arizona that just have that ancient desert magic. Yeah. I cry when I leave Sedona. I live in Washington State now. Oh, you went to, that's a funny thing, because I know a lot of people who go from Sedona to Washington too. That's a funny bridge over there, huh? I think it's like you go from the desert to the rain or forest, or if you're in the city or whatever. But, Sedona is really hot right now. Everybody wants to go there. Everybody's seeking spirituality and going to Sedona and having their time in the desert. And it's a powerful place for healing and for clarity. I'm headed back to Washington in a few weeks. Oh, great. See how connected we are? So for this super full moon, for the August doorway, I'm really encouraging you to start, if you want to do a vision board, if you want to put something together, where in the middle of it, you put your target. What are you aiming for? Where are you going? What do you want? Because I think a lot of people are trying to figure it out. And if you're feeling really emotional, it means something's out of balance. And it's time to get into balance. Because the emotions are telling you something. They're saying something is not in alignment, something's not right. And this is the perfect opportunity to bring that into alignment. So very simplistically, you can say, if I have too much fire, like too much anger, I need some water. I need to calm down. I need to cry. I need to bring that healing water into my life so that I can cool these flames. And then on the opposite end, if you're just too watery, too crying, too this, too that, you need some passion. You need some fire. You need to go to Phoenix, Arizona. You need that. You need to dry up. This live came right in alignment with this upcoming full moon because we can start fresh with disciplines practice spiritually. Yes, exactly. And that's the thing is, like, people always ask me, what can I do as a spiritual practice, right? Because maybe you came from more of a religious background or no, nothing, And the beautiful thing about a spiritual practice is it's individual. Spiritual, like anything spiritual, isn't, confined to some kind of rule. It's more fluid. It's more, what feels good and right and works for you. Some people it's yoga practice. Some people it's walking in nature. Some people it's lighting a candle. Some people it's sitting in silence and meditating. Some people it's reading the Bible. There's something for everybody. I remember I had a wellness practice and I would be sitting in my healing room meditating and praying, and then my chiropractor would be sitting in his room reading the Bible. And we were both doing our spiritual practice because we said, okay, we're going to do our spiritual practice every day. And he told me, that was the first time in his life that he was that devoted to his spirituality. But it was different. We were different practices, but we could still do our spiritual practice and, be in harmony, be in balance. I am so happy you are all here. Thank you for being here every Monday, Songbird Grandmother. Oh, you're welcome, Virginia. Thank you for being here too. I love this like Monday talks. I don't know where or how they'll evolve. I have this new streaming thing here on StreamYard that I'm trying. And so I think as I get more used to it, today I'm trying to do it and see how it goes. But what I want to do is I want to invite people on here, because on the streaming you can invite people and you can do calls and stuff. So when I get better with the technology, I'm going to invite all of you to come on and talk, and we'll do more spiritual, talks and talk about what's going on with everybody, because I want to hear you and see you. I want to see you. I get in balance in nature. Love to go to lake to swim. Yeah, see? Lake to swim. Wait, what is it with discipline automatically feeling like a negative or heavy thing? Yeah, I would like to let that feeling go. That's exactly it. Because when you think about discipline, like here in the West, think about what conjures in your mind. Like maybe you thought of discipline like being smacked. Maybe your parents, smacked you, and that was discipline. Think about what is your relationship with discipline, because a lot of times if we have a really dysfunctional relationship with discipline and that word, and like I can see it sometimes. I'll talk to clients and they'll be like, ooh, discipline, no, yuck, gross, that like conjures up my dad and this, or I was forced to do something, or and so it has a different connotation than what our cultural practices are, or even our ancestors, like way back, they were very disciplined. That's why we're here. If they were like, woo, just floating around, we wouldn't be here. But discipline in this modern age can be like a trigger word. And if it's a trigger word, you have to start healing that relationship with it, because actually discipline is order and it brings you freedom. it brings you freedom. Because when you have a disciplined schedule, when you have a disciplined life and you have everything in order and everything is, think it's not chaotic and messy, then everything just flows because there's a time and place for everything. One of the things people struggle with the most is overwhelm. And they'll tell me that I feel overwhelmed. I have to do this. I have to do that. I have to do. Like kids, they love discipline. They love structure. They don't like chaos and messiness because they're so sensitive and they pick up on all that energy. They like it when they have a time they wake up, and they like it when they have a time they go to bed. And that's how we are too. We like it when everything fits into a time and space. And that's what discipline and structure and order is. Because in the universe, there is chaotic energies. But when you start to talk about ascension or enlightenment, or when you're working with these higher level deities and celestial beings and forces, that's all order. Karma is order. Because think about all the things that karma has to remember. You did that, so this will happen. That's how the laws of the universe work. What goes up must come down. So it has to know when something's up for it to come down. So if you look at it and you understand those higher forces, you'll understand the higher you go spiritually and materially, the more disciplined and structured you will be. Just go hang out with any billionaire, any millionaire, anybody who's really into finance and money. How did they get there? Through structure and order. They didn't get there through sitting around or unless they were born rich or something like that. But if they built their wealth, they built it on structure, order, and being organized and time management. Because that's one of the biggest struggles is when you're feeling overwhelmed and everything is chaotic and messy, it's because there's no structure and organization and order. And it's unfortunate because we have such a dysfunctional relationship sometimes with those things. But if you go to like Asia and places like that, people are very disciplined, very structured, very orderly, and the society runs like on a, I remember I was in Japan and we were on the subway, and the subway said, we will be 1 minute, we will be 1 minute late. That's how on time those trains are over there. And everybody's like, 1 minute. I was like, 1 minute late. We'd be lucky to get that over here. Like 20,000 times, 20,000 minutes late. No. And feed on is exactly what I am after, but I am a recovering chaos addict. So I need to heal my relationship with discipline. Freedom. Oh, freedom is exact. That's the thing too, Virginia, is that everybody is off after freedom. And people think it's like this, like, ooh, like, I don't have to do anything. Freedom, think about freedom is like, freedom is nobody telling me what to do, nobody, on my back. I can just go where I want, when I want, do what I want. And those are beautiful things. But unfortunately, to live that kind of life is like materially hard. Because if you have no structure, you have no order, and you're just la-di-dee, la-di-da, it's going to be really hard to have a home or have a place to live, have food. It's going to be chaos because it's not going to be consistent. But this is something that you learn in monastery or in a very devoted spiritual practice is the art of discipline, and how actually discipline gives you freedom because you will have time to work, you will have time to play, you will have time to, do all these things that you want to do because you've built it into your life and there's a time and place for it. I have healed my ancestral trauma. It was so hard, but I did it. That's amazing, Isabel. That's really great. And part of that, chaotic energy and that stuff we're talking about and lack of discipline and lack of order and trauma is trauma-based. So they go hand in hand. A lot of times when you have a lot of trauma, you have a lot of chaos. And that chaos will follow you until you heal it, until you say, you know what, I'm going to be the last generation to be in chaos. And it's going to require a lot of sacrifice too, because you're going to have to sacrifice that chaotic energy to step into a structure and orderly lifestyle. And when you do it for yourself, and then you do it for your children, then they'll do it for their children. It'll go on and on and on and on and on. Because if you go into any spiritual practice, I don't care what it is, any spiritual practice at the higher levels, not at the beginning levels, but at the higher levels, it always is going to demand more of your time and energy and structure. And that's what a spiritual practice can do for a lot of people. That's why people get, they get into AA and all those stuff. Those are very structured and orderly processes that work for people because it helps you heal the chaos. It's the chaos. And a lot of times when I work with people and I ask them, well, what's your daily life like? And they tell me, oh, it's chaotic. And then I start looking at, we start going deeper into it. We'll understand it's chaotic because they have no structure. They wake up and they have to deal with all these chaotic things, and then they put themselves last, and they're overwhelmed, they're tired, they're exhausted, and they can't focus on anything, so they don't have a lot of money, and there's just everything falls apart. And then when I say, we need to start helping you get more discipline and more structure, they don't like that. They'll say, what? Structure, discipline? Yuck, I don't want that. That don't sound good. But it's true. It's like, if you want to do one thing this moon, I would invite you to think about that in your own life. Is what is the direction you're headed in, and what is the structure and order that is required to get to that destination? And maybe what is the trauma that you're ready to heal? The feelings, the emotions that we were talking about earlier that are standing in the way of that. You feel so much lighter. That's great. All right. So is there any other questions on this super full moon and anything spiritual? My cat's back again, so it might be time to end. You'll notice the cat comes at the beginning and the end of my lives. I'll do a little more clearing here. All right. So yeah, as I get to know the YouTube platform a little better, I'm going to start inviting people on, and we'll have more in-depth conversations and things. But thank you so much for joining me, everybody. And I wish you a blessed and happy super full moon and beautiful week. And I'll be back next Monday for another Meditation Monday. Many blessings.